Annual meetings in Atlanta. Those videos are almost too fun to shoot because Benjamin sits there and he goes, "All right, just do something funny." Like that's what he says. That's our direction.
And that's so easy for you.
Oh, right. I know, right? We're here at NRA annual meetings in Atlanta, and we're talking Mossberg. And probably going to be one of the busiest booths with this guy we're going to talk about here in a second. But Miss Linda Powell is joining us, longtime friend. We were talking about how many NRA shows you've been to. You've been within the industry for 30 years?
It'll be 30 years next year.
30 years next year.
I grew up in the industry just from a young child.
Yeah. I know. We all like to say we did, but she really did it. And are continually going on strong with Mossberg and putting out new stuff, whether it's hunting, defensive use. It's always good stuff.
Yeah. I mean, that's what Mossberg's known for, really bringing to the market quality products, lots of features, but at still an affordable price that most people can afford.
So you guys are always busy, always creating new. One of the newer guns is right here. Let's start talking about it and what it is. Which end do you want to start on, the business end or the back end?
Well, in general, I'd just like to explain a little bit about this, why we brought this to the market. We were actually contacted by a NATO ally to ask us for a breaching gun that had similar features to an AR so that their troops wouldn't have to switch up on the platform.
Right.
So we developed for military. And then we realized this has got a lot of applications for the consumer market.
Yeah.
So it's the 590R, and we're talking about R for the rotary safety selector.
Okay. Right here.
Exactly. And one of the advantages of this, if you've shot a pistol grip firearm, and particularly a Mossberg, when our safety's on the top of the receiver, you have to break your grip to operate that safety. And that is never ideal in a defensive situation. No. Not great in a hunting scenario either. So it just made sense to us to introduce this platform.
Right.
Took some re-engineering. This is still based on our 590 pump action.
Yep.
Close to 13 million of them out there in the marketplace. There's
500, that many of them?
Yeah, 500 590 platforms.
I have one.
Yeah.
And now I'm looking at this one going, how come mine doesn't look like this?
Yep. So we'll start. This is actually a Mossberg adjustable stock, 5 positions. It goes from 12 inches to 15 and a quarter, so that gives you a lot of adjustability. But the beauty of it, there's an adapter here that you can actually switch out from most mil-spec stocks. So if this isn't your preference, you can switch it out.
That's cool. I like the modularity of it, and this is huge. This the grip. The pistol grip is massive for this.
And that's the Magpul grip that we've got on there. One of the things, too, that you'll notice, we've got a rail on top. This particular version comes with Magpul sights, too. One of the things that I love, we've now incorporated the heat shield into the barrel, so this is all one piece. We've also reduced the size of the
pump.
The grip here. It's got hand stops, so it makes it really better control operating that. You come to the front, there's M-locks for adding accessories, so just a great tactical platform. The beauty of it, this is tube fed, but we also have a magazine fed.
Okay.
So if you're interested in higher capacity or the ability maybe to use multiple rounds, different magazines, then you want to look at the 590RM.
The flat-face trigger.
Love that. Yes.
I love that.
I missed that at this angle looking
Well,
here.
you can't see it from there, but hey, I guarantee you guys can see that sucker, and it is flat, and it's transferable from all my rifles. Have a flat-face trigger, and my pistols are the same way. Why not just incorporate the same feel?
Exactly. Good point there.
Yeah, I love it. But the real star of the show is right here. It's the 990, and what I love about this, and the first thing that I noticed was the oversized controls.
Yes.
That's the first thing I noticed. Why did you incorporate oversized controls?
Well, we started doing that on our complete line. If you're familiar with our 940, we did that as well. And we got to listen really to feedback from the marketplace, whether it be law enforcement or consumers. But, being able in the heat of the moment, a defensive moment, you don't want to have to try to manipulate and find. It
Right.
should be very instinctive to go to, and those oversized controls just make a difference.
Yeah.
Can't see it, but it's also true for the safety too. We've enlarged that. It's got a little
Yep.
different texture on it. It's much easier to grip and
Now,
manipulate.
Benjamin behind the camera is probably not going to like this much, but I'm going to turn the little shotgun, the 990 there, so he can see that and where the grip texturing is. And where I find this most beneficial is when we operate during the evening hours.
Yes.
Is finding controls and understanding that, because we don't handle these type of shotguns on a daily basis like
True.
what we would normally train with our pistols and our rifles. So intuitive controls and oversized controls make a big difference in the application and use of these.
And throw on gloves, and that
Oh,
really
gosh.
makes a huge difference too. So
Yeah, and then on top of that, you're looking at like colder weather or anything like that. Like then it all of a sudden it makes a difference on getting a hold of those functions.
And while we're talking about manipulating, obviously this has a 4-inch strap, which
Yep.
is really important for control of the gun, but also to keep your hand from accidentally slipping in front of the muzzle.
Yeah,
Because
'cause it's shorter.
Yep, it's shorter, and you have to be more aware of that.
Yeah, and another thing and too bad you guys can't have, like, we don't have touch field of vision, because the backside, and I was like, look, you guys kind of adjusted this grip a little bit. It's a little bit different than what you guys used to do. Talk a little bit about the back end of this.
Sure. Some people may remember the Shockwave, which you're
Yes.
referring to. We had more of it's the Raptor bird's head grip.
Yeah.
What we've done here, though, kind of changing the style of it, we found this is more ergonomic as far as control
Mm-hmm.
and holding it. We've added a rubberized pad on the top that helps also with
Better
the grip,
control.
reducing
Yep.
recoil. We've added a QD cup so you can actually add a sling to it, which was
Yeah.
not the case with the earlier versions. So that's a big improvement as well. I think that the major thing that people don't understand why it took us a while, everybody said when we did the pump action Shockwave, why don't you have a semi-auto? It's because part of the operation system was in
Yeah.
the stock. So we've now got the complete gas operating system contained in the 4-in.
Okay.
So that took a little bit of engineering
Yeah.
to make that happen.
But isn't that something that you always hear at NRA shows, or anytime you launch a new product? Hey, well, why don't you offer it in, is this going to be available in 20 gauge? Well, hey, we're just giving you one at a time, or,
Yeah, be
or whatever. Be
patient.
patient. Don't worry. We've thought about this. Like,
It's not as simple as people think, just to
No.
switch, downsize to a 12 to 20. It's all about, particularly with gas operating
Yeah.
systems, being able to adjust it where it can reliably
Yeah.
cycle shells. Yeah.
yeah. How much does this hold?
So this is actually 5+1.
Okay.
Yep. And so that's with standard 2 3/4 inch shells. It will handle 3-inch shells as well. So it's ideal
Yeah.
for buckshot,
So,
slugs.
and fiber optic front sight.
Fiber optic, if you need a little more sighting optic choices, the receiver's drilled and tapped, so you can throw a rail on it.
That's
I
big time.
highly recommend throwing a sight on this gun. You can hip shoot it if you want to, but if you're using it for a defensive tool, that's really important. We also have a version that comes with a Crimson Trace laser saddle.
I was hoping you were going to get there, because that's the biggest thing on little guns like this that you have to fire, and you're not looking down that sight like that. Man, a laser makes a massive difference.
And again, we talk about that heat of the moment. When you're using this as a defensive tool, you don't want to have to try to think it through.
Right.
You want it to be instinctive. So that's why I really encourage either the laser or throwing a sight on it.
Yeah, it makes more sense. And man, I wish you guys could feel this thing, because when Miss Linda brought it to me and I pulled it out of the case, it's natural, and the first thing you notice are the big controls, and you want to go over to Mossberg and go, thank you so much for this. And I know those 940s, like, the one that I really like was the Jerry Mitchell. Like
Sure.
that was like one of my all-time favorites because of the controls.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
just absolutely phenomenal what you guys are doing. So let's talk a little bit more about like the training aspect and the use of these, like when you're talking about adding accessories to these guns and kind of making them your own. What do you see folks doing with this firearm?
Well, I think, immediately what comes to mind is when you're working in more compact spaces or for
Yeah.
travel. So, I mean, if there's some place that you want to go and maybe you think a pistol's not enough firepower,
Yeah.
or you just like having a backup, I think of this someone who's camping, motorhomes,
Yeah.
even boats in your vehicle as a backup gun.
Yeah.
In your home, because let's think about what is the average yardage that someone probably shoots in most homes.
It's close.
7 yards,
Yeah.
maybe 10.
Yeah, and you don't look at over penetration and what you put in the firearm. Well, I guess this isn't technically called a firearm, is it?
No, that's exactly what it's called. It's not called a shotgun.
It's
and
not
that's-
called a shotgun. It's
it's called,
any other.
It's any other firearm.
That's what it is. I got to get my verbiage right here, guys. I'm sorry, because I know someone on that YouTube is going to go, but it's not this. It's an any other.
That's right. So it doesn't require the tax stamp. It's a non-NAF. So that's the beauty of it. Again, I'll point out the reason for that is it can't be shoulder mounted.
Right.
And it's over 26 inches long. So it falls into that little category. It's a very
know.
little niche there, but it fits it perfectly.
It is. It fits it perfectly. It'll fit perfectly in your hand. So when are they available? Where can they get them?
They are already shipping. We announced it this week. We already had inventory available. And so if your dealer doesn't have it, ask him to order one for you.
Oh, order it immediately. And what's the kind of price range of both of these?
So this one ranges around 1,100.
Okay.
And this one is about 1,000. And I know people go, oh my gosh, that's a lot for a little gun. But I will tell you that, we talk about street prices.
Yeah.
Both of them will be sub 1,000.
Yeah.
I would expect this to be probably in the $900 range. And likewise, this would probably be similar.
Which these are they last a lifetime. Like they are going to last your lifetime and probably your kid's lifetime. You take care of them, you maintain them, they're going to last forever. So when you look in the grand scheme of things, that's not a big investment.
No, it's really not. Because like you said, what other product that you buy that you can pass down to your kids and maybe their kids?
Not many, because I was sitting there talking to a buddy just a second ago, and I bought this tripod, and I'm like, oh, I love this tripod. I spent a lot of money for it, and it broke in 3 matches. So
Exactly.
this stuff's not going to do that. Like it is amazing stuff, and once you feel it, and especially on this one, if you're familiar with those AR grips, it's going to be nice to control.
Well, that and I think about younger demographic, not me.
Yeah.
But they probably
Or me.
they probably were brought up on ARs.
Yeah.
And so they look at traditional shotguns and it's not as appealing, where this is just a natural transition for them.
Well, and it's like you said, it's like that intuitive feel for it. You
Right.
know where those controls are. You know what so when you were talking about breaking your grip,
Yes.
that's like the number one rule that I abide by. Like, I do not want to break my position
Right.
at all. And you hunt so much across the country and across the world
Yep.
that you can't break that grip. Like, that's your sight picture.
That's exactly right. Yeah,
Yeah.
good point. So I think you'll probably even see this transition hopefully over to some hunting guns too. I'm not saying for sure, but it's a possibility.
Did we just get a teaser? Did we get a teaser? Oh, I can't wait. Now I want to ask the question, well, what next? But you'll have to come back and find out more. So, Linda, thank you so much for
Thank
being
you.
here. And my gosh, if you come by the NRA show, you've got to stop by the Mossberg booth. It's going to be busy, just telling you, because these suckers are going to be, it's priority news right here.
Yeah.
All right, you guys, hey, NRA annual meetings in Atlanta, Mossberg, knocking it out of the park.
For more great gun content, subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter pages. You can also watch the Gun Talk channels on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon. And of course, you can always find us at guntalk.com. Thanks for watching.